नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा। नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा। नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा। इतिपिसो भगवारहं सम्मा संबुद्धो विद्याचरण संपन्नो सुगतो लोकविदु अनुत्तरो पुरिसधम्मसारथि सत्ता देव मनुष्याणां बुद्धो भगवाति। नमो तस्स सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा। ये च बुद्धा अतीता च ये च बुद्धा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये बुद्धा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्ति मे शरणं गम्यं बुद्धो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु मे जयमङ्गलम् उत्तमङ्गेन वन्देऽहं पादपंसो वरुत्तमम् बुद्धेयो कलितो दोषो बुद्धो गमतु तं मम बुद्धं यावनिब्बानपर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि। स्वाक्रातो भगवता धम्मो संदिटिको अकालिको एहि पश्चिको वपनायको पश्चत्तं वेदितव्यो विन्नोहीति। नमो तस्स नियानिकस्स धम्मस्सा। ये च धम्मा अतीता च ये च धम्मा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये धम्मा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्ति मे शरणं गम्यं धम्मो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु मे जयमङ्गलम् उत्तमङ्गेन वन्देऽहं धम्मं च तीदुत्तमम् धम्मेयो कलितो दोषो धम्मो गमतु तं मम धम्मं यावनिब्बानपर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि। सुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो उजुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो न्यायपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो सामीचि पटिपन्नो भगवतो सावक संगो तदिदं चत्तारि पुरुषयुगानि अट्टपुरुषपुद्गला एषा भगवतो सावक संगो आहुनेयो पाहुनेयो दक्षिणेयो अंजलिकरणीयो अनुत्तरं पुण्यकेतं लोकस्याति। नमो तस्स अट्ट आर्यपुद्गला महासंगसा। ये च संगा अतीता च ये च संगा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये संगा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्ति मे शरणं गम्यं संघो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु मे जयमङ्गलम् उत्तमङ्गेन वन्देऽहं संघं च त्रिविधुत्तमम् संघेयो कलितो दोषो संगो कमतु तं मम संघं यावनिब्बानपर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि। विपत्ति पटिवाहाय सब्ब संपत्ति सिद्धिया सब्ब दुःखं विनाशाय सब्ब भयं विनाशाय सब्ब रोगं विनाशाय भवेदीगायुगदायक सब्ब लोकं हितत्ताय परित्तं वनामहे समन्ता चक्रवालेषु अत्ता गच्छन्तु देवता तद्धम्मं मुनिराजस्सा सुनन्तु सद्गमोक्तम् धम्मस्सवन कालो अयं बदन्ता धम्मस्सवन कालो अयं बदन्ता परित्तस्सवन कालो अयं बदन्ता। नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा संबुद्धस्सा। एवं मे सुतं एकं समयं भगवा राजगहे विहरति इसिगिलस्मिन् पब्बते तत्र को भगवा भिक्खु अमन्तेसि भिक्खवोति बदन्तेति ते भिक्खु भगवतो पच्चसोऽसुं भगवा एतदवोचा पश्चातनो तुम्हे भिक्कवे एतं व्यवहारं पब्बतन्ति एवं बन्ते एतस्सापि भिक्कवे व्यवहारस्य पब्बतस्सा अन्यावासमन्याहोसि अन्यापन्यत्ति पश्चातनो तुम्हे भिक्कवे एतं पाण्डवं पब्बतन्ति एवं बन्ते एतस्सापि को भिक्कवे पाण्डवस्य पब्बतस्सा अन्यावासमन्याहोसि अन्यापन्यत्ति पश्चातनो तुम्हे भिक्कवे एतं व्यपुल्लं पब्बतन्ति एवं बन्ते एतस्सापि को भिक्खवे वपुल्लस्य पब्बतस्य अन्यावासमन्या अहोसि अन्यापन्यत्ति पश्चातनो तुम्हे भिक्खवे एतं गिज्जकूटं पब्बतन्ति एवं बन्ते एतस्सापि को भिक्खवे गिज्जकूटस्य पब्बतस्य अन्यावासमन्या अहोसि अन्यापन्यत्ति पश्चातनो तुम्हे भिक्खवे इमं इसिगिलिं पब्बतन्ति एवं बन्ते इमस्य कोपन भिक्खवे इसिगिलिस्य पब्बतस्य एषा वासमन्या अहोसि ऐसा पन्यत्ति भूतपुब्बं भिक्कवे पंच पच्चेक बुद्ध सतानि इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासिनो हेसुं ते इमं पब्बतं पविसन्तादिस्सन्ति पवित्तानादिस्सन्ति तमेनं मनुस्सादिस्वा एवमाहंसु अयं पब्बतो इमे इसी गिलातीति इसिगिली त्वेव समन्या उदपादि आचिक्तिस्सामि भिक्कवे पच्चेक बुद्धानां नामानि कित्तिस्सामि भिक्कवे पच्चेक बुद्धानां नामानि देशस्सामि भिक्कवे पच्चेक बुद्धानां नामानि तंसुणात साधुकं मनसि करोता भासिस्सामीति एवं बन्तेति को ते भिक्खु भगवतो पच्चसो सुं भगवा ये तदवोच अरिट्टो नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि उपरितो नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि तगर्सिकी नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि यशस्वी नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि सुदर्शनो नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि यदस्सी नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि गंधारो नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि पिंडोलो नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि उपासबो नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि नीतो नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि ततो नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि सुतवा नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि भावितत्तो नाम भिक्कवे पच्चेक संबुद्धो इमस्मिन् इसिगिलिस्मिन् पब्बते चिरनिवासी अहोसि ये सत्तसारा अनीगा नीरसा पच्चेक मेवज्जगमं सुबोधिं तेसं विसल्लान नरुत्तमानं नामानि मे कित्तयतो सुनाता हरित्तो उपरिट्टो तगर्सिकी यशस्सि सुदर्शनोऽपि यदस्सी च सुसंबुद्धो गंधारो पिंडोलो उपासबो च नीतो ततो सुतवा भावितत्तो शुंभो सुबो मतुलो अट्टमो च अतस्सुमेगो अनीगो सुदातो पच्चेक बुद्धा भवनत्तिकी ना हिंगू च हिंगो च महानुभावा द्वेजालिनो मुनिनो अट्टको च अथा कोसल्लो बुद्धो अतो सुबाहु उपनिमेषो नियमिषो संतचित्तो सच्चो ततो विरजो पंडितो च कालूपकाला विजितो जितो च हंगो च पंगो च गुट्टिजितो च पस्सिजहि उपदि दुःखमूलं अपराजितो मारबलंगजेसि सत्तापवत्ता सरभंगो लोमहंसो उच्चंगमायो असितो अनासवो मनोमयो मानच्छिदो च बंधुमा तदादिमुत्तो विमलो च केतुमा केतुंबरागो च मातंगो हरियो अच्युतो अच्युतगामभ्यामको सुमंगलो दब्बिलो सुपतिट्टितो असह्यो खेमाविरतो च स्वरतो दुरन्नयो संगो अतोपि उज्जयो अपरो मुनि सह्यो अनोमनिक्कमो आनंदो नंदो उपनंदो द्वादशा भारद्वाजो अंतिम देहधारी बोधि महानामो अतोपि उत्तरो केसी सिकी सुंदरो द्वारबाजो तिस्सुपतिस्सा भवबंधनच्छिदा उपसिकी तन्हच्छिदो च शिकारी बुद्धो अहु मंगलो वीतरागो उसबच्छिदा जालिनं दुःखमूलं संतं पदं अज्जमगमोपनीतो उपोसतो सुंदरो सच्चनामो जेतो जयंतो पदुमो उत्पलो च पदमुत्तरो रक्षितो पब्बतो च मानत्तद्दो शोभितो वीतरागो कण्हो च बुद्धो सुविमुक्तचित्तो एते च अन्ये च महानुभावा पच्चेक बुद्धा भवनेत्तिकीना ते सब्ब संगातिगते महेसि परिनिभूते वन्दथा अपमेयेति एतेन सच्चवज्जेन सोतिनो होतु सब्बदा एतेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु नो जय मंगलम् एतेन सच्चवज्जेन पातु नो रतनत्रयम् अभित्यो विवज्जन्तु सब्बरोगो विनश्यतु माते भवतन्तरायो सुखी दीर्घायुको भवतु सब्बमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सब्बदेवता सब्बबुद्धानुभावेन सब्बधम्मानुभावेन सब्बसङ्घानुभावेन सदा सोत्ति भवन्तु ते नकतय कभूतानां पापग्रह निवारण परित्तस्सानुभावेन अंतुनो उपद्रवे देवो वसातु कालेन सस्य संपत्ति हेतु च पीतो भवतु लोको च राजा भवतु धम्मिको यं दुन्निमित्तं मंगलं चायो चामनापो शकुनस्य सद्दो पापग्रहो दुष्पिनं अकन्तं बुद्धानुभावेन नाशमिन्तु Dhammanubhavena vinasamantu Sanganubhavena vinasamantu Akasatha cha Bhummatta Devanaga Mahitika Punyantanganumoditva Chirang Rakkantu Sasanang Chirang Rakkantu Desanang Chirang Rakkantu Mamparangi Tavata cha Ammehi Sambatang Punya Sampadang Sabbe Deva Anumodantu Sabbe Bhuta Anumodantu Sabbe Satta Anumodantu Sabba Sampatti Siddhya Nibbana Sampatti Siddhya Idam no Nyatinang Hotu Sukita Hontu Nyatayo Idam no Nyatinang Hotu Sukita Hontu Nyatayo Idam no Nyatinang Hotu Sukita Hontu Nyatayo Sabbe Buddha Balapata Pacceka Nancha Yang Balang Arahantanancha Tejena Rakkam Bandami Sabbaso Sabbe Dhamma Balapata Arya Satchanancha Yang Balang Dhamma Chakkasa Tejena Rakkam Bandami Sabbaso Sabbe Sangha Balapata Vimuttanancha Yang Balang Sasana Satejena Rakkam Bandami Sabbaso Imina Punyakam Hina Mame Bala Samagamo Satan Samagamo Hotu Yavan Bana Pattiya Idang Me Punyakamang Asavakayang Bahang Hotu Sabbatuka Pamuchatu Nibbana Sampachayo Hotu Sadhu Sadhu. So this today's chanting, it is one discourse called Isigili Sutta. So what does it mean? What is this Isigili? Gili means like swallowing, grabbing and swallowing. Swallowing. Gili means like eating, swallowing. Isi means like rishi. So eating or swallowing the rishis, swallowing the sages. That is the meaning of Isigili. There was one mountain, one big hill, one big peak, let us say, peak in the mountain range. So in a place called Gijjakuta, now it's called Gijjakutam Parvata, Gijjakuta Mountain. You might have heard of this, you might have visited this mountain also, you might have seen this. We have seen Rajgir, present day Rajgir. During Buddha's time, it was called Rajagiha. So there, Buddha, he stayed there in that mountain range for 9 to 10 years. Immediately after his enlightenment, after meeting a few major disciples, the first 5 bhikkhus, the first 5 disciples, and then 60 disciples of Yasa and his friends, a few more, this Kassapa brothers and their 1,000 disciples, or 1,750 disciples, nearly some 2,000 disciples by the time they were ready. And then Buddha visited King Bimbisara. King Bimbisara offered some monasteries in this mountain range, this Gijjakuta mountain. It is near Patna, near the capital of Magadha, the present day Patna. That time it was called Pataliputta. So Buddha stayed there for some 9-10 years. During that time, so Buddha gave this discourse, this Isigili Sutta, and he was explaining the different peaks in that mountain range, the speciality of those different peaks. So there were so many names that they have mentioned. So different peaks. Gijjakuta, that's also one peak, and then Isigili is one peak. She showed this Isigili mountain or Isigili peak, and he told the bhikkhus, see, this is one special mountain. In the ancient days, they used to call this as Isigili because nearly some 500 Pacceka Buddhas, they entered this mountain peak, this Isigili, the peak that swallows the rishis, the sages. And they could not return back. They didn't return back. You see, these sages. That means the mountain itself has swallowed them. In that way, people, they thought the mountain has swallowed them. So they are, so now they are no more. That is the capacity of this mountain. That's why they started calling it as Isigili. But in reality, all those 500 sages, they were Pacceka Buddhas. What does it mean? They evolved their mind, they purified their mind, and they completely emancipated from the defilements of the mind, from this worldliness, and they became Pacceka Buddhas and they disappeared. They entered into Nibbana. So, but Pacceka Buddhas have that special supernatural powers also. Even their bodies will disappear. They can do that. They can completely make their bodies disappear. There is no substrata remaining after their death also. In that way also they can do. So many of them, they attained Nibbana in that Isigili. And people, they could not comprehend that knowledge, comprehend what happened there. And they saw the rishis entering there and they simply disappeared, and they thought this mountain peak is swallowing the rishis. So that's why they named it as Isigili. In that way, Buddha started explaining the different Isis or the rishis or the sages who entered into that Isigili, that mountain peak, and who attained this ultimate Nibbana. So he's just named some 25, 30, or maybe more than nearly 50 names he mentioned. He could not mention all the 500. So all those special Pacceka Buddhas, their supreme powers, their supreme conviction in liberation, that Pacceka Bodhi, in that enlightenment, that great enlightenment, he was simply prizing them. And that's what is this Isigili Sutta, or this discourse on Isigili. Why we have to chant this? That is the essence, that is the gist of this sutta. And why we have to chant this, and what is that significance of chanting this? So this gives, again, of course, inspiration for this liberation of the mind, working for the liberation of the mind. That is, of course, very much there in all the sutras, that inspiration to work for liberating the mind, purifying the mind, is very much there in all the sutras. In addition to that, one more, learning, or one more aspect that we should look into, the significance of this Isigili Sutra is, like, so it is not monopoly of the Buddhas to teach or to discover this path of liberation. Unlike in other theistic religions, they make it like one monopoly of an individual, or one lineage, or one tradition also. Only this tradition, this lineage is capable to teach the art of liberating the mind, the art and science of freeing the mind. Only one person, or the set of people, or the lineage of that person only can liberate you, can save you. So that kind of rigid wrong you can see in many sects, or in many religions, in many traditions, in many schools of thought. They very firmly, very rigidly, very foolishly, they get attached to one lineage or one tradition, or one or one way, and that's how everything starts. But here, what is the learning? What is that we have to take away from this? One of the key takeaways from this sutra is, like, it is individually you can work on it and you can liberate. You need not require a teacher, you do not require tradition, lineage. So that kind of Buddhas who can work on themselves, who can seclude, work on themselves, who can purify their mind, be liberated. That possibility is there, that mind. That he wanted to introduce. Instead of making this rigid, fundamentalist is the liberated one. So if you have that conviction, work on yourself, if you want to liberate your mind, that is also possible. But Pacceka Bodhi, the private the present world is becoming very individualistic. Even a small kid, he wants to stand on his legs and he wants to build his life. He wants to empower himself. But empowerment is very much seen in almost all aspects of, say, in almost all communities, all individuals all over the world. That grip, that hold of a lineage, hold of a tradition, of a guru is not very strong when you compare the present situation with the previous situation. That grip, that lineage, that has become very much weak now. People are becoming more and more individualistic. In this present situation, individualistically work on your own financial freedom, social freedom, religious freedom. Even the liberation of the mind is also possible. One can work independently, individually, and he can liberate his mind. That's what is the message of this very important sutra, Isigili Sutra, and that is very much there in Buddha's teachings. He encourages people who have that seed of working themselves, working alone and liberating. He encourages such people also. Okay, all right, through a bigger one and his community, a bigger community, disciples is in the number. I have liberated myself, only I am enlightened. Only my disciples can work on their minds and they can be enlightened. That kind of rigid views is there as far as my experience, my knowledge is concerned. So it is very much there in all other philosophies. When people, any person, if he says that he has started one school of thought, he thinks that his school of thought is the most this tremendous respect for that. Those who want to work on their mind, liberate themselves, mind by their own meditation practice. That is also very much there. In the present situation, I think people appreciate this. Where the world is becoming individualistic, people will definitely appreciate this. I've seen many small groups here in this place also. They make one small group or even some individuals also. They practice themselves. They get some here and there, some tips some motivational, say, some techniques or tips, and they work on themselves and they keep practicing these things and they analyze according to their own intellectual level, their wisdom level, and they keep working here also in this belt, in this Himalayan belt. So in that way, so one prime key takeaway in this sutra, in this Isigili Sutra, is like there is a possibility of the individuals to work on their mind and liberate their mind and becoming completely enlightened, completely freed from this repeated cycles of birth and death. That's what is the message of this Isigili Sutta. And of course, in your own way, you can comprehend this and you can say, realize the importance of this